This type of Yerushalmi Shekalim. The article goes by addition of Mamash at top of Amar Aleph, Hashol Yad Ani B'Chulei, and in the Vilna Yerushalmi, we're at the end of Vav Amar Beis, the end of Vav Amar Aleph. In front of me, as you know, so just let's see what goes on. It says on the page here, and in the Vilna Bavli, Yerushalmi Bavli, we are on Daf Daled Amar Beis, and it doesn't have the header of Hashol Yad Oni, has the header of Achin Shutfim. Actually, it's not even a header; it's a different gears in the Gemara. And that is, if you look at where the Taflin Chadatin is in the left-hand margin, it's below the top of the Taflin Chadatin. It is 3, 6, 8, 7 lines down. And as I said, it's different Girsa than we have in the article Yerushalmi. And presumably, though it's in front of me, the Yerushalmi. When the article does bring down the Girsa in his commentary, I don't see the Gemara bring it down, but the Taflin Chadatin does bring it down. I think it starts on the bottom of the previous summit. No, it starts here. Okay, so I'm going to read it inside the Bavli Yerushalmi version, which Chaim also has. Achin v'shutfim. So I should actually say Yad that header is not what we're going to talk about. Talk about brothers who were Anfus Abayis. Achim Shutfim Chayim and Kelbon, the brothers and the partners were Chayim and Kelbon, needs their two Shutfim. Upturim Ma'aseh they're exempt from Ma'aseh Behema, because Shutfim are exempt from Ma'aseh Behema. B'shechoku v'chozu yishtatfu. That's where they divided up, and now they were fully separate because the brothers, of course, they divided up the estate. The children don't have to divide up; they start up separate, separate, but the brothers fully separated, and then they joined up again. The chosim nishtatu shechaver ma'aseh in the chayim ma'aseh because they're not true partners because it's still one estate. So then. P'turim min Kelbon, and they're exempt from Kelbon. When is that? B'shalochoku, when they haven't divided up, so it's still one estate, and therefore they're not true partners, and they're exempt from Kelbon because they're giving the two machzis shekels together as a full selah. They aren't partners; they're just giving it as a full selah. Okay, this is going into, of course, the shita that you don't give a machzis shekel just by giving. They don't give a Kelbon for just giving machzis shekel. Unlike what Rob said in yesterday's Daf Yomi. Okay, now those of you following the article and pick up inside. Amar Abelezer said, "V'hein shechoku g'doyim keneged tyoshim, v'tyoshim keneged g'doyim." It's only if they divide it up in a way that some of the brothers got young goats, and other brothers got young sheep, and vice versa. As the Taflin Chadatin explains, because then there is a true chalukah in the sense that they have to reckon monetarily the value of the sheep versus the goats and vice versa, because they have to make a fair chalukah. So that is considered to be like a true mekach, as the Taflin kind of says. So if each one purchased their portion from the marketplace and they combine again, so it's no longer tfusas abayis, but rather shem shutfus, because that should be division which has to be based on monetary assessment. But avlim choko g'doyim keneged g'doyim tyoshim keneged tyoshim hu chelkom shorishona. But if they divide it up, goats opposite goats and sheep opposite sheep, they never truly divided up. So as Khan says, adayin shem yoshim aleim, and therefore, because there never was a monetary transaction. So if they get back together again, so the tefusas habais goes back to its original status. Okay, so the that is the opinion of Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Apil choku yudaim yashim connected yashim l'ku chosein." Now, even they were divided up, the sheep versus sheep and goats versus goats, they still become lukuchos, and therefore they are. It's considered to be a true transaction, the division, even though there's no monetary assessment necessarily going into it, and therefore they go back together again. They are true shutfin. And he did Tamon, like we learned over there. This was applies to this case. How kuach shenitam matana potter mimaiser behema. If somebody who acquired sheep and whatever it is, animals, and or it's given to him as gift, so he is exempt from maiser behema. Only the original breeder has to give the maiser behema. So here too, the moment they divide up, it's considered to be as lakuach. Even if it's Yosh Connect and Yosh Yoim, it's considered to be lakuach, as if they purchased from each other, and therefore they're part of Meiser Behema. And even the Chazim Nishtatev, they're like any other shutfim who are exempt from Meiser Behema. Now, in the article we have here the part which we already read from the Bavli Yerushalmi, and so we can take it out here, but and the article does take it out. So we already read that at the top of the page. Now we go on to Rabbi Chizkiah. Rabbi Chizkiah said, Rabbi Yirmiyah asked the following question. Why don't we say in additional scenarios? Why do we say sometimes the chayv in both Kabon Meiser Behema, sometimes they're exempt from both Kabon and Meiser Behema. And the next few lines are going to learn like the Carbon Ada. It brings down the Girsa, which is also in the Bavli and Bukhairis. Chokos and Chosim. So I'm going to go with the Carbon Ada. You look at Carbon Ada. Hechavida. As a kamo hechidami, how are you saying? Chokos and chosim. They divide the property, but not the animals. Chavim bezeh bezeh. They're chayim should be chayim in both. They're not shufin in the animals, right? But they're shufin in everything else. So they are they should be chayim in kelbon, right? Because they're regular shufin, chayim in kelbon. It's not tefusah anymore, and they're Chayim Meiser Behema, because they are not shufim when it comes to Meiser Behema, so they're Chayim, they're original breeders, right? Chokos conversely, Chokos Behema, they divide up the animals. The locals are Chasim, and they didn't divide the property between them. They're exempt from both, because now they're shufim for the animals, but they're not shufim for everything else. So they're shufim for the animals. The part of Meiser Behema, they're not shufim for everything else. So they're still giving one seller for the two of them as a corporate entity. So therefore their parts are from Kelbon. So it comes to Ramon and says a very big chiddush. You could say this, but only when the animals are not the majority, as the talking the says, that when they buy the property only, the chayim and kelbon, where the animals are not the majority of the property. If the animals were the majority of the property, they're the primary property, and so therefore, as the both the same thing. Even though they divided property, since they divide the animals, they're still primarily partners, and they're parted from. That's primarily twisted sabais. Sorry, primarily twisted sabais, and they're still parted with chelbon. I said chelbon, which is the white of an egg, kelbon. Rabbi Shemi argues. Rabbi Shemi boy. Rabbi Shemi asks, or in this case, I guess it's more of a statement, or a challenge. Just because you made like one person by Ma'aser Bema, a poach him in a carbon, you're going to exempt from a carbon, as Korbaneh says. It's a Ma'aser Bema, however, lo choku, never should determine a carbon. Abba Shalom Nosnu should claim in the Yerusha Sabim, even though they're not giving a Shekalim from the Yerusha of their father, right? Avi Shabahim was him Ikon Chatzin in the future. So even though the animals are primary Yerusha, and final analysis, the money is coming from separate sources, right? Therefore, Ein Lefatron. Okay, it's interesting. He says here, no, it's not this important for us. Achlamati mi migdal oz Hashem ram mikutzi lokam ra fuldo borat mun. Okay, so we're not going to see the Maram Yefuda because Korbaneh doesn't like him and disrespect. But the thing is, the Takun Chatin also is like Maram Yefuda, so we should mention it. The Bishimi is not asking on the previous statement made by Raimona, but he's asking the Mishnah that if they didn't divide up their Paturim Mina Kelbon. Why should be part of the Kelbon? Final analysis, they're two people. Okay, but I like the Korbaneh shot. So Chaim also runs like the Korbaneh, and we're going to give his answer too, his explanation of the answer. Ramona responded, low. It's different. Shani Yishu nice and Selach Shlema. I like the way Chaim explains this. Ultimately, look, the bottom line, they're giving one sellout, right? And really Mikra Din, they shouldn't have to give any Achreya because any Kelbon because there's no change being made. They're giving one sellout for two people. So therefore, the Rabbanon were machmir. They said, nevertheless, the Shutim has to give to Kelbon. But they weren't machmir. This situation where most of it is still part of Tusas Abayis. So they said, okay, since they weren't connected to the Behema, so therefore, according to Ramona's Torah, no Kelbon is required. Okay, so Gemara asks, okay, if your main reason is because they're giving a selah shalim, so therefore they should be able to Kelbon. So therefore, Me'ata, I flew Chokum including the Chazon Ishtat, if they divided up, and then the Mishtatim again, Chayav and Ma'aser Behema Paturim Kelbon, let them be Chayav Ma'aser Behema Paturim Kelbon. U'Tnei, yeah, we learned Chayav and Kelbon Paturim Ma'aser Behema. There are Chayav and Kelbon. So one answer is kind of a low plug. So it's more right. By Shem Arba said, "Hushni Achim Shiyarshu." No, even though they're brothers, right? In the Torah, it seems like they're reconstituting the Vusas Abayis after they divide it up. Doesn't matter. They're like two brothers-in-law divided up their father-in-law's property. In other words, they are right now true shuftim, like any other shuftim. The fact that they're brothers looks like they're not shuftim, they're still shuftim, and therefore, Chazal said no, shuftim are chayav and kelbon, and they divided up. Therefore, once even they got back together again, if they did an authentic division, they're chayav and kelbon no matter what. No matter what. Like Korban says, Usha. I want to say I'm not sure Korban actually says that. Just a second. No, in fact, not. The Korban Eda and the Reb Chaim also. The Reb Chaim learns it's a separate statement. It doesn't address the previous statement. The previous statement according to Reb Chaim is not ever answered, even though the answer could be a simple plug, but one doesn't bother to answer it. So according to Reb Chaim, and it seems according to Korban Eda, the Korban Eda seems to be a continuation of the previous sugya, although it's not 100% sure. But Korban Eda started reading before. But they're saying, according to that a tremendous chiddush here, that they say not only are two brothers considered to be Tfusas Abayis, and they're parted from a Kelbon, but even two brothers-in-law, and Yorish and father-in-law together, they're considered to be Tfusas Abayis, and they're parted from a Kelbon. So even though there's not really true Zabais, no true Yerusha here, but nevertheless, that's the halacha. They're saying Rabba Shem Abba Baruna Hushne Achin Shioshu Sabim Hushne Gisim Shioshu Es Chamin Kula. I was saying that it means lo plug l'chumra. That we say no. They're like two far fremde, as they say in Yiddish, and two strangers, and therefore they're chayim and kelbon. Once they divide it up, it doesn't matter if they're being shagol sell out together. The way Reb Chaim is learning it, the way the Carbonated season, not only Taka season like me, but no, it's Taka, as long as it's with a bice, even though there are these are not, their brothers are not the same type of corporate entity as even though the brothers-in-law are not the same type of corporate entity as the brothers would be. Very big finish. Okay, so now I want to ask a question. What do you do with kabbalas? Where do the kabbalas go? So, Meir Shekalim, and this is Meir L'Shitas, or so somebody said this a minute ago. Maybe yeah, that they go to the same place the Shekalim go, because it's part of the Zaydnu, it's part of the Raisa, right? So of course it's going to go to the same place as Shekalim. Elezim and Ladava. Says no, they go to Ladava. They bring by korbanos Ladava. Rabbi Shimon Shizuyim, as Shizuyim Mary Quiz, Ravitzi Pula base Kodesh Kodashim. They would give it as a to the coatings, the paneling of gold, and which used to panel the walls of the Beis Hamikdash. Tzipur Beis Kodesh, I think it's the same thing. I think it was also gold. Don't see anybody change the gears here. But the next sheet is Chiddush. Ben Azam is Shulchanim. They actually give it to the Shulchanim as their payment for the since they were doing work for the Beis Hamikdash by doing the changing and I guess collection also. They also did the collection of the Shekalim. The Taka Chadet and Korban Eidah said they actually collected. They said they actually collected it. Okay. Yeshim some say l'tzvaz drachim. They would be paid in order to. They would be paid in order to. They pay the people who transport the shkalim to Yerushalayim, which the Pnei Moshe says is also the also Shulchanim would transport to Yerushalayim. I'm not sure you have to say that. So I don't see anybody saying this, but again, I looked around here, but according to Ben Azai and the Yeshmim, either have to say that kabbalas were never meant to be kadosh; they were just given as a fee, and therefore they could go straight to the Shulchanim and to the Tzoras or Drachim, or that they were kadosh, and then somehow the Berek Habayis had to be machala that money used in some way which gets Kedusha off, and then give it as a payment to the people who were working for them. But according to Frishit, right, Meir, Rabbi Shimon, Shizuri, so obviously it was part of the Hekdesh. According to Meir, it's part of the Shkolim, according to the other ones, it's still the Hekdesh in any event. So obviously, either fundamental machlekes here, whether the kavos were kodesh or chol, or they were giz a kodesh, but they had to be chala in order to pay the umnin, the shulchanim. Okay, says the what's the talking about? It says drachim. We start the second paragraph. It says mitzayvish kol medakonos. You can the people who are the bnei ir, they can exchange their machzis shekel, which were silver, for dakonos, which were gold. They masir drachim in order that they should be easier to carry up to Shleim. Then they would I'm not sure what I was about to say. They just switch it back. They switch it to gold, so it's less luggage. Kashem Shu Shofros about Mikdash, just like there are pushkas in the base on Mikdash, for which they would put the machzis a shekel. So too there were pushkas. Kachim in Medina, there were pushkas inside the outside in the cities in order to put their machzis a shekel them for collection purposes. Where the top of the Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, still the Mishnah goes on. Might as well finish the Mishnah. Bnei Yer Sheshuchel Sheklam. The Bnei Yer sent their machzis a shekel, but nignabu. They got lost, stolen. Or they're lost. In nitruma truma, if there's after the truma salishka, so therefore it's as if they was done on their shkolim as well, because as the Korban says, so you turn the govli about asilikvos. They will do the truma both, and that was collected, that was eventually collected. So in other words, brought the base on mikdash. Then Nishboim Legizboim, the Shluchim who lost was stolen from them, they're the ones who have to take a shvua and say that we weren't Boshea, so that they weren't exempt. They were exempt. Being loud, if not Nishboim Meir, they have to take a shvua to Meir, and since there was no truma yet, it's a mitzvah Meir Shochlish Tachteim. They have to give new ones. Nimtu or Shechzim, then the machzis shekel was found, or Shechzim Garavin, they're going to get back. Ebel Shkolim, it's hektish, they're both Shkolim. Ben Shabbat doesn't count towards next year either. Okay, I should point out that what I said before, that the more Poshet, that would be true of the Shomer Chinams. But the Shomer Sochers, then of course they have to take a shvua that it was Ba'ones, otherwise they would be Chayav. Okay, that's the end of the Mishnah. That's it for today. Stop here.